last night we arrived very late in Lahore at, I believe, 2 a.m. in the morning. We're staying at
the 4 Point Sheraton, very nice hotel, I recommend it. Only $85 a night, but clearly in the West you can pay $300-400 a night. So top class.
Exactly, yeah, very safe as well. And now we've just woken up. I mean, well, it's midday already. So, like you can see, we're taking a tuk-tuk to the Badshahi Mosque and the fort in Lahore. I guess we'll see you there. And we're right now just making our way to the Badshahi Mosque, which is in the same compound as the Lahore Fort. You can already start to see the Mughal architecture just there.
And
the
for
walls.
any of you who've been to New Delhi, this will really remind you of the Red Fort in New Delhi, because of course it's the same part of the same empire. In fact, Lahore and New Delhi were sister cities.
The fifth Sikh guru is buried here, so that's why lots of Sikhs come here to pay homage to him. So it's a very extensive and impressive location.
This fort built by the Lu, son of the Ramchandraji, Hindu god. Hindu Lord Rama have two sons, Lu and Kasu. Lu was the founder of the Lahore city and the Kasu was the founder of the Ksur city. This present shape you are watching built by the Mughal Emperor Akbar in 1566. Before the period of King Akbar, it was clay and mud fort. He ordered demolish that earlier mud fort and rebuild this fort with the small bricks. First time he used this kind of small bricks for the stability and the durability of the fort. The 4 Mughal kings have construction role in this fort: Akbar, Jahangir, Shah Jahan and King Aurangzeb Alamgir, father, son, grandson and great-grandson. All the picture present the culture of the Mughal period. At that time they used this kind of proper animal for the transportation and the battle, including the elephant, camels and the horses. They use this kind of royal robes costume, and they use this kind of games on the horses, chugan, like the polos.
Oh, chugan.
And chugan, yes.
Yeah.
Totally, this is the tile mosaic work. In the arches, this is the fresco work. These are the 58 elephant stairs. These stairs used by
elephants to climb up.
These are the 58 elephant stairs. These stairs used by the elephant of the royal family to carry the royal family top to the palace and from to the palace.
So here we are in the Queen's quarters.
It's called the Shisha Diwan, and if you just turn around, you'll see this very unusual shape of where the Queen's main room was over here, with curves, and actually has curves to represent the curves of a woman.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, the Kohinoor diamond, which is in the crown of Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother, her and will be for the next British Queen, was actually in that building for a period of time. Stolen by the British,
obviously stolen.
We haven't given it back, but
never will. But as you can see in here, I believe this is the Queen's bedroom herself. And at the time, there were 11 queens, I believe, of Shah Jahan who built this place. Let's just have a look. You can see this is a portal just here. You may wonder, this is in a honeycomb formation, and that's in a way the air conditioning of the time, because the breeze comes in and then it expands. It's not very effective, but that's what they had at the time, of course.
And this beautiful palace constructed by the Mughal Emperor Shah Jahan in 1645. When the British occupied the Lahore in 1849, they convert this beautiful hall into the church. In the British period, this beautiful building working as a church for the British Army soldiers and the officers. Diwan-e-Khas. Not Catholic, Protestant church.
Okay.
The Church of England. And the first pastor of this church was Kim Edward from Edinburgh.
Oh, really?
Okay, yes, yeah.
I'm from Edinburgh.
Yeah.
Are you a good guy? This is the original architecture. This is the Persian architecture.
Oh, yes.
Diwan-e-Khas. I think in Fatehpur Sikri, in Agra, there is also Diwan-e-Khas.
Yeah, I've seen that.
In the middle, this was the fountain. That was the beautiful stone carving of the world. There is no any joint in the fountain.
Yes.
And you are watching the empty places. At this place there was a stone jade from Myanmar.
Right.
Inlay in the white marble. That stone have a special quality. When the fountain full with the water, at that time that stone start to glow under the water.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
That expensive stone obtained by the Maharaja Ranjit Singh period from this.
But where is it now?
They removed from this side and stolen to the Afghanistan and other part of the world.
Okay, yeah.
This chamber constructed by the Mughal Emperor Jahangir on the shape of the chessboard, because he was the very fond of the game of the chess.
Yeah.
At that time, there is no hydraulic system. What is the pressure system of the fountain with the gravity system? They stored the water on the top of the buildings early in the morning with the animal skin. In our language, we call the mashkiza, animal skin. They use the big pipe. After that, smaller one, little smaller one. With the falling pressure of the water, the whole fountain system start to operation.
Okay, yeah.
Okay?
Yeah, very
In the
interesting.
middle, this area is reserved for the King Jahangir and his beloved wife Noor Jahan. They both used to sit at night time for the moon sighting. And when the moon reflects the water, at that time this was the beautiful view of the quadrangle. That's the real throne. Same like Jaipur. Diwane Anand Jaipur.
The open court,
Yeah.
the commoners. Yeah.
And we are about to go from the Red Fort to the mosque, and it's a beautiful, large complex built by the Mughals. Hey,
Yeah.
built by the Mughals, and this is the bridge in front of us, the bridge that was built by the British.
Yeah.
We stayed here for a couple of years, and in the shape of the Union flag.
I think I'm not sure if that was deliberate or not.
I actually
but-
wonder if it isn't.
I know. But yeah, we'll say it is in the shape. It was at least built by the British. Yeah. It's very interesting how this place has been occupied by different rulers over the years. Of course, starting with the Mughals, then moving the way down, and obviously in the end, the East India Company, and then now a visitor centre. We are now entering the Badshahi Mosque. It's actually still a functioning mosque. It wasn't in the British rule because they used it for the garrison, but now it's back in functioning at this moment.
It's very similar to the mosque in Old Delhi, but actually to me this is much more beautiful. And when you go inside, it's bigger, because the old mosque in the old part of Delhi, I think it's the same stone, the same architecture, but to me this is the most impressive mosque I've probably ever seen, actually. And the entrance to itself is this large building with many different towers on it. I'm not sure what that was really for. I suppose that was the getting in. It's really quite a stunning building.
And as you can
Oh,
see,
on the left, actually.
yes, there's the main gateway. You can see at the bottom of the two towers, those at the very bottom, that's meant to imitate an elephant's foot, and at the very top, that's meant to be symbolise a pomegranate, which is grown in this region.
So clearly we're inside the mosque complex. The vast majority of the space is for prayer. So that's why it's so large. On Friday prayers it will probably be packed with men praying.
And also notably in Pakistan, the prayer area is outside, which is different compared to other Islamic countries. And I think it's also the same in India as well.
And then the actual architecture is classic Mughal architecture. Here you would see it here, Iran, Uzbekistan. The actual the domes themselves are the shape of the top of the dome. What we do know is these are lotus
flowers. Yeah.
And these lotus flowers symbolize, I think, the lotus opens in the morning when prayer starts and closes when prayer ends. And the other features here are just really very much classic. Mughal architecture, absolutely beautiful. Please give sure
A photo, yeah. So we can see the Shahada right on top of the main arc.
And the other images on the mosque are traditional Islamic, which are geometric, and images of nature. Don't forget, in Islam, it's forbidden to show, typically to show images of people.
Idolatry.
And so Islamic architecture now has developed along the figure of nature. We can see up here leaves and flowers, and then the geometrical symbols around the outside of the portico.
Yes, it's very different to churches. Obviously, in a church, you'd have images of Jesus, and also, a lot of it's outside, as I mentioned before. But of course, down in this direction, the direction to Mecca, where, of course, Muslims go
And what
to.
it is, Shahada is what the Islamic profession of faith.
And that's just written right in front of the arc at the
And
front.
if you look down, actually, I find this very unusual. This colour stone I've never really seen before. But evidently it's the kind of stone that came from Afghanistan. And that kind of sort of rusty brown. And really the contrast when you get to the first inside to those blindingly white marble is really fascinating. And each space would have been where someone would have prayed.
And still do to this day.
And still do to this day, yeah. So after that tour of the complex, the Red Fort and the Badshahi Mosque, we're now going to make our way to Old Lahore, and it's called the Walled City. So our first point of destination will be the Delhi Gate. And the Delhi Gate from there we plan to try and make our way to the Masjid Wazir Khan, which is actually one of the most beautiful mosques in Lahore, as far as I'm aware, and down to Food Street.
Yeah, exactly. So to get there, we're going to take a tuk-tuk, but it's important to note that Uber also operates in Pakistan, so that's also another reliable service to use. But we're just going to use the tuk-tuk. So that 10-minute tuk-tuk ride, which was quite crazy. We're now in the old city in Lahore. You can see here's the arc leading into it.
What's famous here is the wooden structures on the outside of the building. And that was for the ladies, women of the house, because they were not allowed to come out onto the street without their men, and the way they could observe everyday life was to do so from the balconies of their homes. And that is the typical of old Lahore. You don't see this anywhere else in Pakistan. Now inside the mosque you can see it's one of the most unusual and probably colourful mosques that I've been to in Pakistan and most of the Muslim world. And you can see the very different colour, the mixture of yellows and blues, interspersed with greens, and highly tiled. And in the centre we can see too the place where men would do their cleansing ritual, cleaning before
it's called
time.
Called the wuzu.
The wuzu, thank you Adam.
Ablutions before they pray.
And we further come down and we will see the entrance, which is quite small. The covered area internally is small, and really in many ways it's just the weather here. You can certainly pray outside and to accommodate the maximum number of people. This is how it's constructed.
Here we are on the next day, and we're here at Jahangir's tomb, who was a Mughal emperor, and we're about to check it out. I mean, it's meant to be a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and it took us around half an hour by tuk-tuk to get it. But it's a bit of an adventure. It wasn't actually originally on our plans, but we just found out this morning, and from what we can see so far, it's a very impressive place.
It really is. This is a real treat. I don't think many tourists actually come out here. Just to get in, it costs for a foreigner 500 rupees, which is about $3, and it is the complex where the emperor himself is buried. Quite stunning, actually, if you look at it. I believe typical Mughal style,
Yeah.
And we'll find out more about the emperor when we get further inside.
Certainly.
So, if any of you have been to the Taj Mahal in India, I have to say though, this is almost as impressive. Not the building itself necessarily, but that's beautiful too. Just the gardens and the extent of the complex. It's maybe one difference perhaps is the fact that the Taj Mahal has more marble inlaid, more pietra dura than this place. But it's a grand structure, and I would really highly recommend anybody interested in coming to Pakistan to visit this place. There are very few other tourists here. There are no other tourists here, but it's really a calming, beautiful Islamic garden. And now we're going to make our way inside the mausoleum itself. One thing that surprises me, actually, I don't see a dome on top of it. Don't forget the Taj Mahal in India has a beautiful dome. I'd like to understand that a bit better. We'll find out. If anyone knows, put it in the comments down below. So now we're much closer to the tomb itself, and just trying to understand some of the characters on the facade of the tomb. And to me, it seems like we have, I don't know, it's quite unusual, a range of plants, but also some geometrical designs, but also something like pots almost to me. On a lot of these motifs right around here. Maybe there's some kind of significance to that. Later on we'll try and research that. Now if you look at this temple, not temple, but this minaret, it's astonishing actually. Look at that artwork on it. It includes this sort of zigzag shape. That must have been a huge amount of work to actually achieve that. You can also see some medallions on the arches. Two little medallions which is in pietra dura. We've seen that before, this pietra dura. We saw it in the Red Fort. Absolutely perfect symmetry and really attractive to look at, I think.
Inside the mausoleum with the tomb here itself, you can see the name etched on the side alongside the date. Obviously you won't be able to read that unless you're Pakistani watching this video.
I think.
Yes.
Just different. Those who don't know, it might look Arabic, but in fact it's not. It's just the Arabic alphabet. It's the Urdu language, which is heavily influenced by Hindi and Persian. Now, what else can we observe? It's just a very beautiful, calming space. Once again, the pietra dura, which we talked about elsewhere, is here. You'll find this all over the Taj Mahal, perhaps, in India, which is in Agra. A series which I think you would describe there as plant-based. These are plants and flowers. We also have on the ground a more geometrical style, but all sort of perfect, wonderful architecture and design, very calming, very peaceful, very sublime, maybe that's the right word I'm looking for.
Yes, and again we can see we mentioned this in the Lahore Fort, but you can see the hexagonal design here, which is meant to be almost a form of air conditioning. At the time, obviously, it doesn't do a very good job. Probably see I'm sweating all over. We're tourists. Actually, we've been given permission to go on top of the building, go on top of the tomb itself. Yeah, probably for some money, but nonetheless, we're up here, and what's an impressive view, and all for, of course, one person. Obviously, everyone can enjoy it nowadays. But
only like white people.
yeah.
This one?
This
is the beauty.
Yeah. Be a good view from the top. Yeah. So this point concludes our video on Lahore, but after this point we actually went to the Lahore Museum and also explored the Mall Street, the main street in Lahore. Unfortunately we didn't get a lot of that on camera, but I'd highly advise you to visit the Lahore Museum if you're going to Lahore. There are numerous artifacts from Burma and Southern Asia, and I just hope you've enjoyed this video, the first video on our channel, and if so then please like and subscribe, visit Lahore itself and share the video.